Welcome to Behind the Screen, where plans fall apart, dice roll high, and only sometimes we know what we're doing. My name is Talon, I am your Dungeon Master for today, and let's get right into today's video. Now, in the campaign I am running right now, obviously, I have a ton of NPCs, and sometimes it can be a real struggle to make each of them feel interesting and unique. But over the course of my first ever game, I have found these top 10 secrets of ways that I can make each NPC feel like their own separate unique person. And I thought I'd share them all with you, so if you haven't already, be sure to go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and also hit the like button so I know you enjoyed. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with number 1, we have to give each of your NPCs one core trait. Now, not every single shopkeep or every single guard needs an entire personality spreadsheet, but it does help to know what their kind of personality should be centered around. For example, I had a shopkeep who was very clumsy. When they were in the back searching for stuff, the players could just hear a bunch of crashing, a bunch of stuff falling over because this NPC happened to be very clumsy and had very brittle bones. So that can help you create some NPCs. You know, are they nervous? Are they really loud? Are they clumsy, like I already said? Are they very smug? Just give your NPCs that one trait, and in improv just comes naturally, because then you just have to think about that one specific trait to be able to improv off of. And that's for very low level NPCs too. So that can be guards, they can be shopkeep, anyone that isn't really a high character or are just random NPCs. You can just, again, give them that one trait and it should flourish. And then moving on to number 2, you do need to know what this NPC's purpose is in this scene. Before you insert this NPC into your world, you just need to ask yourself a simple question: why is this NPC here? And the main list that I always follow is that they could either be there to warn the party, they could either be there to deliver a quest, to sell something, just to lie, to be funny, or to cause tension. Those are the 6 things that I would say I kind of look for. Like, okay, why is this shopkeep here? Obviously to sell something. Why is this guard accusing them of something? Because they are lying. Stuff like that. And your NPCs will feel a lot stronger when they have a clear function in this world and aren't just bodies to buy stuff from. And then number 3, don't script their dialogue. This is something I did when I first started my game currently, is that I would script a lot of the dialogue of my NPCs. But that just doesn't feel natural when a player character is talking to an NPC and my responses come out very robotic that way. And this is the number 1 new DM mistake that a lot of DMs make. So what I always think of when I'm prepping for D&D sessions is what they know, what they want, and how they feel about the players, and the conversation should run smoothly from there. And everything else should be pretty easy to improv. Just go based off of how your characters react to them. Are they very nice, very mean? Are they very mischievous? Whatever it may be. And that does actually bring us into number 4, which is that you need to use the player's energy to shape what the character is about. For example, if your players fear them, trust them, annoy them, flirt with them, whatever, then the NPC should react accordingly. For example, there is, again, a player character that I have who you've probably heard of, but he's the elf wizard who's very mischievous, and he has looked different from the rituals that he's done, and I made my NPCs react to that. Because he looks so different, a lot of NPCs look at him with fear, because there's just something unnatural and something that they aren't familiar with. And that does also bring us into number 5, which is that you need to give the NPCs a unique motivator. What motivates them in this world that you've created? Again, basic list everyone do is that they might want money, they want approval, they want revenge, they want peace, they want attention, they want to go home. All of these things can help shape your character and help them have a meaning of why they're there, and have them have their own little tiny story beats in the canon lore of this world. And then this does also make them believable, because, you know, every single person in the entire world, both in real life and in storytelling, all have a purpose. Like, they all have meaning. They all have something that motivates them, that wants them, that's making them keep going. And some examples that you could use too, maybe a shopkeep is worried about his wife who's dying with cancer and is trying to provide for his kids. You could have a guard worried about the recent fires that have been set to the capital and doesn't want any townsfolk to be hurt. It's just simple stuff like that that gives them a little bit of juice of life instead of just, again, random bodies thrown throughout the world. Now, moving on to number 6, we do have you need to make the NPCs care about the players in more ways than one. An example of this that I used in my game was the NPC Greta, who most of my player characters liked, except one did not, and she did care about the players. She wanted them to continue on and be safe, and she was especially worried about the one who had looked very, very different. And this is a way that NPCs can become unforgettable, is when they react to the party's choices, and they just overall seem to care, for better or for worse, about what the players do. And in that way, the players may think twice about robbing them, if the person does really truly like them. And that is moving on to number 7. You need to let the players decide who becomes important as an NPC. Sometimes your players latch on to some random NPC, like a guard with 2 HP, a random shopkeeper named Bobbert, or a rat, a random fisherman, whatever it may be. If they latch on to a certain NPC, you need to try your best to be able to get that NPC more screen time in one way or another. And this is something that you can use throughout your entire campaign. If you notice even an inkling of someone showing more love to a certain NPC, maybe they encounter them while traveling again. Maybe something bad happens to them and they have to save them. Just stuff like that. Or again, maybe you could have that NPC betray them, and it's extremely heartbreaking. It's all of these things that make NPCs feel a lot more alive within your story. And then number 8 is something that I usually do for my NPCs, is use the imperfections to make them feel real. Now, what I do sometimes for some of my NPCs is that I have them have a stutter, which I sometimes have a stutter in real life, but I will have them just stutter a lot. And it's those little imperfections that make the players want to gravitate towards them more. Some examples of stuff that you could do is just this wizard that you had met who sneezes when he casts, or the barkeep who can't really hear well and has to yell at you to be able to hear what you're trying to say, or the knight who's actually afraid of horses, or you meet a rogue who's actually terrible at stealth. It's all these little things that, when put together, can make a truly unforgettable NPC. And moving on to number 9, don't force an NPC to matter in your story. And what I mean by that is, if your players really are not loving the certain NPC, don't try to shove it down your throat of saying you have to like this character. I am going to show this character as much as I can, and you will like them, because that'll just push them further and further away. So if they don't seem interested, take the hint and maybe shift the focus somewhere else. Because if you shove it down the throat too much, they might just end up straight murdering that NPC. And then moving on to number 10, just choose one thing to make your NPC stand out. And that could be something simple as a phrase. If they just say, "my dude," after every single sentence, or something stupid like that, that becomes their thing. Or, the NPC has a really terrible laugh whenever they end up laughing at a joke that the character said. Or it's a certain gesture that they just do with their hands, or it's a certain hobby that they have, or a skill. Again, all these little things that you can add to the NPC, they will stack up, and they will make them even more unforgettable. And if they constantly use that one thing, like that laugh or that hobby, when they appear, it'll make the players instantly go, "oh my god, it's that guy again, oh my god." You know what I mean? So, again, just make your NPCs just seem like regular people, and I guarantee you your players are going to fall in love with them. Because NPCs don't need perfect voices, tragic lore, or 20 minutes of dialogue. They just need to feel more alive. And if you do these 10 things, then your players will most likely never forget them. And that was it. Those were the top 10 secrets to running amazing NPCs. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry, it's a little bit of a shorter video today. I'm kind of on a deadline. But thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to go down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and also hit that like button so I know you enjoyed. And I am Talon, your Dungeon Master, and behind the screen, signing off.